People used to turn to self-help for hope, for wisdom, for growth, but somewhere along the way, self-improvement became self-obsession. Now, people feel guilty for even resting. They measure their worth through productivity. They fake positivity while secretly falling apart inside. And the strangest part is the industry that promised them freedom has made millions feel inadequate. Because modern self-help sells one dangerous idea. If you're not constantly improving, you are failing. So today we're going to talk about the toxic world of self-help, hustle culture, and toxic positivity, and why many people chasing their best selves are slowly losing themselves. Self-help did not begin as something bad because growth is important. Discipline, learning, healing, and purpose are all important. But modern self-help is becoming something else. A marketplace of insecurity because insecurity is profitable. If people feel incomplete, they will keep buying solutions. Another course, another book, another productivity system, another morning routine. Eventually, people stop seeing themselves as human beings. They start seeing themselves as unfinished projects. Imagine a man standing in front of a mirror every morning. At first, he simply wants to improve himself, but over time, he becomes obsessed with every flaw. Eventually, the mirror no longer helps him, it imprisons him. That is modern self-help. It turns self-awareness into self-surveillance. You become trapped in endless optimization, always fixing, but never arriving. Then there's the hustle culture, with some common phrases like sleep is for losers, grind while they sleep, wake up at 4 a.m., no excuses. At first, it sounds motivating until you realize something disturbing. Many people are no longer working towards freedom, but they're addicted to proving their worth. Because the hustle culture quietly teaches this: your value equals your output. Hence, people begin to treat themselves like machines. Rest becomes guilt. Stillness is seen as laziness. Peace and quiet is seen as unproductivity. Eventually, burnout becomes an identity. You've probably seen this online. Someone wakes up at 5 a.m., cold shower, gym, trading, business networking, content creation. Every second is optimized, and everyone watching thinks, why can't I be like that? But what you don't see is the anxiety behind the performance, the exhaustion behind every optimized second, the emptiness of routine. Because many people are not hustling from inspiration, they are running away from the fear of feeling insignificant. Modern society has turned humans into economic units. Your worth is now measured by how much you produce, how much money you make, how much attention you get. So even self-improvement becomes capitalism. You are told to work on yourself endlessly, not necessarily to be peaceful, but to become more marketable. And then there's toxic positivity, the idea that you must always stay positive, always think positive, always manifest. And if you feel sadness, anger, confusion, or grief, then apparently you're vibrating low. This is one of the most psychologically dangerous ideas online because emotions are not enemies, they are actually signals. Pain is information. Sadness can reveal truth. Loneliness can reveal disconnections. Emotions can reveal things that you need to work on. But toxic positivity teaches people to suppress every negative emotion. Imagine a house on fire, but instead of calling for help, the owner keeps repeating an affirmation: everything is fine, everything is fine. That is toxic positivity. It is not healing. I remember learning this some time back and trying to stay positive throughout the day, but one inconvenience would ruin my day because I was fighting reality instead of accepting what is. This could cause internal conflict and hence suffering. One of the darkest traps in self-help is the addiction to becoming. The belief that I will finally be enough when I become someone else, when I make more money, when I become successful, when I become attractive, when I become disciplined. So life becomes one endless chase. You're always preparing to live, but never actually living. The horizon always moves away from you. No matter how far you walk, it keeps retreating. That is what endless self-improvement can feel like. You hit one goal and immediately create another deficiency. And eventually, you no longer know how to appreciate the present version of yourself. A lot of people today are exhausted, not because they are lazy, but because they have been trying to become worthy for too long. Trying to optimize every flaw, fix every weakness, monetize every hobby, transform every moment into progress. But human beings were not designed to live under internal evaluation all the time. Real growth is slowing down and being more present. It's not constant intensity. Even nature understands this. Trees do not grow continuously every second. There are seasons they shed their leaves and seasons to blossom. But the hustle culture expects human beings to bloom permanently. That is impossible. Discipline, ambition, hard work are not toxic. What becomes toxic is when your identity depends entirely on achievement, when rest feels illegal, when failure feels like worthlessness. I remember falling down this rabbit hole of self-help. This new course is a secret to financial freedom. This meditation technique will unlock your third eye. Another guru, another course, another secret supposedly only successful people know. So I kept spending to improve, but never really arriving. Until it dawned on me, maybe the self-help industry is made to make you feel inadequate so they can profit from your insecurity. Because when you're truly content, you don't keep buying into these courses. So I started asking, do I need another course to stay disciplined? Or another life-changing secret that sounds different but says the same thing? Eventually I understood something important. Real growth is usually quiet, it's repetitive, it's boring, but you just have to stick with it. The people who grow the most are often the ones who stop obsessing over themselves, because constant self-analysis can become another form of suffering. So stop treating yourself like a problem to be solved. Instead, start engaging with life directly. Be more present. Not every moment needs optimization. Some moments simply need to be lived. Self-help can be powerful, but when growth becomes obsession, peace disappears. You're allowed to rest. You're allowed to feel. You're allowed to be uncertain. You're allowed to exist without turning every second into productivity. Because the goal of life is not to become a perfect machine. It is to become fully alive, to simply be human. If this spoke to you, subscribe for more philosophy and self-mastery.